And welcome everybody to another Satsang for the soul. As we come into this magical time, welcome Lee. Good to see you, my dear. Yeah, just before we begin, Lee, I'm just going to get these images in the right place. All right, let's see if this works here. Whoops. Lee, can you just unmute and just check your microphone?
Hi.
Hey, there you go. So I'm just saying for some reason, oops. Okay, there we go. We're all good. How you doing this morning? Can you hear me okay, Lee?
Oh, say that again.
I was going to say, how are you doing this morning?
Doing good. Thank you.
Great.
How are you doing?
Great. Yeah, it's some beautiful waves. We're here. We're now, which is a great place to be. So what are you feeling? Should we start with just a few breaths and bring us into space? And
yes, I was thinking.
Sounds good.
You can bring us in, ground us in meditation, and then we can transition into song.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So anyone that's tuning in around the place, just to give a bit of context, I guess, if this is your first time. So Lee and I are working together to do these little satsang for the souls. So little pauses. It's Monday evening over there in the America, United States, and here in the Philippines, where Lee is, and Australia, where I'm holding up here, it's Tuesday mornings. So they're just little times that we're holding with the world as it goes through the birthing contractions and all the stuff that's going on around the place. A little place just to come home and just to have a little space out of time to reconnect, to slow down. And then, so the invitation is to join me now in just we'll just do a little guided meditation, just to, using our breath to bring us into the space. So wherever you are, if you're in your office or if you're at home or, all the noise outside in the world, just let that go for a moment. And let's start by closing our eyes and just kind of taking a moment. So just start by just taking a couple of breaths, just breathing in through the nose, feeling it fill up your body, and just letting it out with a bit of a sigh. And you can exaggerate that as well if you want to get into it. Sometimes it can be a little bit of fun just to breathe in through the nose, feeling your cells light up with the oxygen, and then just letting it go. And as you release that breath, it can really help to kind of just feel your shoulders dropping, like the weight of the world on your shoulders is just falling away. And just each time you breathe in, feeling the oxygen bring your cells to life with fresh fuel. And then with every out breath, just feel any stress, any tension just beginning to dissolve and go out there into the world where it can be returned to trees and plants that take in that carbon dioxide and run that cycle of life. So just breathing together and just bringing into awareness now the body that you're in, this human vehicle that you're blessed with. So as you breathe in this time, breathing in, kind of follow that oxygen, follow that breath as it comes in, feeling as it moves through your mouth. Maybe you can feel the sensations of the breath as it goes down through your throat, down into your lungs. And maybe you're feeling your lungs filling up and your body rising, your shoulders relaxing, lifting back. Maybe just straightening your posture a little bit. Feeling yourself, feeling your weight being held by the chair that you're in. Or if you're standing, how your feet are connecting to the earth. And even if you're in a high-rise building, just visualize yourself standing with your feet in the earth, that soft soil of Pachamama, Mother Earth, where we're all born from and where we all return. Just holding us, holding your way, knowing that you can just let go, to just relax, just for a moment in time as we take this little journey together. Just allowing your breath to go into a natural pattern. And now I invite you to take your awareness from your physical body, first giving some gratitude for this vessel, no matter what its condition. The fact that we have this vessel, we have this human vehicle in this lifetime, no matter how challenging it may seem, that we even have the opportunity to be in this game of life. Knowing that all things can be restored. And now bring your awareness, imagine it just kind of like a little diamond in your heart space, so in your chest. And with each breath, I want you to imagine this diamond of self, this diamond that is the quintessence of you, the you that not even you truly have discovered yet and unraveled. With every breath, bring this diamond up, visualize it coming up through your throat, through this blue color of your throat, up into the mind. See it taking space in your brain, just radiating its magnificence. And then see it now rising up through your crown, through the top of your head, and shooting up into the stars. And from that space, imagine your awareness now connecting with other stars in the sky, each of them representing another aspect of you on another place on this planet, in different circumstances, different situations, different human vehicles, different genetic lineage, different traditions, different stories, almost seeming like a completely different person. Yet when you follow this diamond of self, you find yourself dancing together with these other aspects of yourself in the stars. Really feeling that at the heart of things, I am you and you truly are me. Simply reflecting through different lenses, different experiences, as the greater cosmos dances through us in order to know itself. And so from this place, we let go of any costumes of who we think we are. We let go of, just for the moment, any ideas of who we're meant to be. And really just allow ourselves to be almost like a newborn child, fresh and open. And from this place, from this openness, this not knowing that we can embrace in our everyday life, letting go of thinking we know what's right for the world or right for others, and really just coming back into our heart space of compassion to see others as ourselves. From this place, when we let go of all knowing, all the opportunity in existence begins to open up. All the possibilities, the infinite ways that you can achieve your brilliance, fully unlock your magnificence into the world, begin to open up. Opportunities you never would have seen with any preconceived ideas now are shining, brought to you through synchronicity. And now it's time for us just to really ground in a world where we don't know anything anymore. We're now given this opportunity to embrace this magic of not knowing. And the more that you do, the more you bring yourself into presence, into the here and now, the more the earth will speak to you, the more synchronicity will be alive things will begin to glow with a kind of radiance, leading you along through life, showing you the way, the hidden pathways to your success through grace and playfulness. So I invite you to bring your awareness now back into your body, wherever you might be in the world, holding that awareness of this connection with each other all over the planet. And to just take a nice deep breath together, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And welcome to this week's Satsang for the Soul.
Beautiful. Thank you for bringing us in. Starting us off with a song called Galaxy.
Do you want to just test that, or the guitar lead? It sounds like it's not quite coming through.
How about now? Is that better?
It's got the fan in the background, but the guitar is much nicer.
How about this?
That's good. That's better. Well,
okay.
I think your noise cancelling's cutting in and out a little bit.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Okay. Thank you. It keeps on going to a different setting. So just flowing with technology, having a mind of their own. And since we are still in the blue eagle wave spell and seeing the bigger picture, I wanted to share the song called Galaxy. And in a way, it's like a mantra. I am my own galaxy. And anybody who's watching, who's ever felt maybe recently feeling alone, we just remember that when we put our blood under a microscope, we see billions and billions of cells inside of us, trillions even, and that we never are truly alone. And it's just a matter of perspective, that there is always a galaxy within galaxy within galaxy. Depends on how we are looking at things. And so I am my own galaxy. It's a recognition that we have everything that we need, that we are the sum total of the greatness of this amazing universe. This great mystery exists inside of us. We are our own galaxy. I am my own galaxy. I am my own galaxy. Every day I have some questions, and everything surrounding me. The stars above the sea, I wonder how they came to be. Why are we so different? Where am I from? Let me put this guard down and look into my soul. Something's happening to me. I'm slowly unraveling this mystery. I don't know how and I don't know why. I just know that I don't have to look up in the sky. 'Cause I am my own galaxy. thoughts and prayers. The sun is within me now to light my way. We are all different, no matter what form. When I find myself in doubt, I just look into my soul. Something's happening to me. I'm slowly unraveling this mystery. I don't know how and I don't know why. I just know that I don't have to look up in the sky. 'Cause I am my own galaxy. I am my own galaxy. Everything that you see is made for you and me. Everything that you see is made for you and me. And everything that you see is made for you and me. The truth is seen, and it's all within us. I believe, 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 I believe that I am my own galaxy, that I am my own galaxy, that I am my own galaxy. I am my own. I am my own.
Thank you, Lee. It's always a delight. I remember the first time we met many years ago, and that's one of my favorite songs on your album. I think it's a beautiful reflection. I love the choice to start with, you know, being as we're coming into closing this Blue Eagle wave spell these last 13 days.
Welcome to the room. Someone with us here in Zoom.
Dwayne.
Again,
Great to have
welcome
you live.
everyone who's listening to us, tuning in right now, and for those of you that are catching us in the replay to the future. Hello from the past.
Indeed. And if you are watching on Twitch or YouTube, I can see the chats there. So if you guys want to throw any inputs in, just comment there and we'll include you in the conversation. And the same here in Zoom, Dwayne, you've got the chat there as well, where you can join in. And so yeah, here we are. So Lee, I guess we're just exploring and discovering what these satsang for the souls are. We're turning up each week and exploring. And Dwayne's just saying their beautiful voice. These absolutely.
Thank you, Dwayne.
So for those that aren't familiar, we're using something called the Mayan dream spell as kind of the baseline for the themes. And Lee and I both do this work in our own ways and have done for many years. And the Mayan dream spell in a nutshell is really the cosmic time release schedule, in a way, evolutionary schedule of, you know, when you look at the evolution of human consciousness, you can really see that there are these waves of development, these patterns that are happening throughout the collective over time, you know. And even before the internet, TV, etc., we would see in all these different places around the world, you know, similar kinds of advancements happening at similar times. And the dream spell, the Mayan dream spell, is kind of tracking these patterns as the ancient Maya used to do, to see. They believed it was like a giant butterfly flapping its wings in the center of the galaxy. And these vibrations from these wings, which is like their version of God in a sense, was emanating from the center of the galaxy through the different time lenses or the suns, and then coming through and striking our planet, and in a way triggering within our DNA, within our genetics, this kind of time release program. Now, the beautiful thing is there's no need to believe this is true. This is, as far as we work with this, let's just consider this an incredible fairy tale. Now, whether it is real or not is not even so important, but more that it gives us a framework to target our contemplations. And that's what it really does for me. It gives me the opportunity to reflect on and bring myself more into the present. So that's what these Tuesdays is really about. And that's just coming together. And today we're actually in what's known as the White Crystal World Bridger in the wave spell. So a wave spell is a 13-day period, like a wave of energy that comes through and kind of massages a theme into our consciousness. And so the Blue Eagle wave spell is what we're in right now, the 12th day. So we're beginning the closing off. And so that's going to be kind of fueling our contemplations and seeing where it goes. So how are you doing, Lee? How's it been for you?
12th day, always a good time to come together. Crystal day, good day for community. It's like, I always look to it as like a day where the iCloud of all the minds is activated, and we can all plug in and cooperate with one another. I, on the fly, chose the song I Am My Own Galaxy, like I said, because of the wave spell of the Blue Eagle. That's what it reminds me of. Seeing the bigger picture. And when we turned the new year in July 26, a lot of people felt an exhale and like, so good, we're out of that blue storm, it's been real. And yet we are still seeing a lot of intensity of what's going on in the world, and it's getting more and more intense. And we look to the yellow electric star, which is the year that we are in, the bigger cycle that's happening more in the next fractal of what's going on in the 13-day, in the 13-year. So I think that's the challenge of the time too. How can we take the seat of the eagle, and what's the medicine of the eagle for us in this 13-day period that we are in the 12th day off already? Can we actually remove ourselves and pull ourselves away from the drama, the intensity, whether it's happening on a personal life level, whether it's happening on a global level, if we are engaged in intensified conversations, we are still so highly polarized with topics like vaccinations, things like that. Can we actually see the bigger picture? And what that brought me this week, or this period, this cycle, is and I wanted to honor Matthias De Stefano. He's someone that also really inspires me as an amazing human being doing amazing work. His work is all about Yo Soy, or I am, activating different energy spots in the planet. And one thing he said that really was just like my food for thought: this body is finite. This body is finite. At the end of the day, we are feeling some sense of fear when we contemplate life. Are we gonna die? That's the big question right now. Everybody is feeling the fear of dying, And when we look at that, when I look at the bigger picture of that, whether we talk about vaccination, which is, I bring that into the space because this is a space of contemplation. I just wanted to say that. And when I contemplate on the polarities of anti-vax and pro-vax, there are, when we talk about fear as well, it exists in both sides. One side is saying, you're afraid of the virus, so you're going to go ahead and vaccinate yourself. And the other also carrying the same fear. Like, you're also afraid of putting something in your body that you don't know. So like, don't put that on me. I don't know what that is. So both fear, different sides, different perspectives, both incredibly valid. Can we take that seat and not sitting in one spectrum and actually hear the validity of both? And if it's not fear driven, it's also a belief that you're doing something that's good for your body. For example, I'm doing my body good by not getting vaccinated. That's my truth. The other person says, I'm doing my body good by getting vaccinated, and that's my truth. So it's interesting to see from a vantage point that everything really is valid. But at the end of the day, the question for me is, it's all because we are now face to face with how finite life truly is, that everything has an expiration point. I have an expiration point. I just don't know when it is. My question now, and I think this is the invitation of the time, what are we going to do before we expire? What is this life all about? Am I going to spend my time arguing with someone I can't really change your mind anyway? Or are we going to choose to spend our energy towards something that perhaps would create something more joy in our life? And we're moving into yellow star wave spell, which is all about harmony. How are we engaging with the world? How is the world engaging us? Where are we focusing our energy? What are the things in our mind? What are the things that we are doing? So for me, Blue Eagle is that it shines a light on how brilliant the mind is. And Krishna says, in the Eastern tradition from India, our mind, we are either the boss of our mind or a slave of our mind. Which are we? Or the mind has its own ability to create a life of joy or to create a life of suffering. We have to choose. So the Blue Eagle perspective, to see, to even observe how our mind generates its thoughts and what's the common denominator of the thoughts that runs through our mind. Are we anxious? Are we stressed out? Or maybe your mind always seeks to find what is the solution, or how can we bring more peace into this conversation? Which mind are we using? What thoughts are we carrying? So yeah, expiration date, time, this body is finite. At the end of the day, I love this quote, no one's going to make it out of here alive. I mean, let's think about that first. Let's think about that for a second. No one's going to make it out of here alive. We're all going to die. That's the truth. At least we can laugh about, at least we can just laugh about life is, we take life so seriously.
Right. And it's this irony, right, Lee, that it's so relevant. So I appreciate you bringing in, it's a pretty heavy hitter topic you're daring to bring on live. And I love that, that because it's got so much tension, when you talk about vaccines and things like, and all these, and that's like our world right now is loaded with all this tension. And it's like how serious, like we're becoming terminally serious as a species, that it's like, we're not even living in the first place. It's like that old paradox, right? We're so terrified of dying that we try and hide death in our society, in our cultures, and a lot of the Western cultures, especially. It's some of the Easterns are much more embracing of it, but we push it away so much that we're not even living in the first place. And so then what is the point of having a life, of having this human experience, if we're not even going to live it? Right. So it's a cosmic joke, Yeah.
Yeah. And so resonant for today too. We are in the White World Bridger day.
And this is something, everything you've been sharing is really resonant with today, and won't go into a big lesson for everyone on the dream spell, but like you were mentioning, the crystal tones, whenever you look at a wave spell, a 13-day period, right? Each one has a theme. So the blue eagle is like the visionary, right? It's just like you're explaining, that ability to pull away from, because, when we're in that fight, when we're in the fight and flight, it feels like there's all these people out there, and I'm all alone, and that's very scary. And a decision I make is against their decision, or they're gonna, and it's this kind of scary world that can be very overwhelming. And so this whole wave spell is about, as you've been sharing, it's like that blue eagle, to take flight, to kind of bring our awareness out of that looking out, but rather looking from the top and seeing that, just like our cells of our body, or the branches on a tree, or anything else that's so fractal in nature, we're just one of millions. And we all connect to the same thing. We all come from the same place. We all go back to the same place. No matter what you believe, what you think, that's kind of the basis of it, right? And the crystal tones of the 12th day of any wave spell gives us a lot of clues as to how we can work together, how we can cooperate to equalize those individual elements, those individual fractals, so that we can come on an equal plane together with our evolution, right? And so it's so apt of what you're speaking to, because with the blue eagle, this crystal tone, this 12th day, falls on the white world bridger, which the world bridger is a nice way of saying it in the traditional Maya. I believe it was Kimi. And in the traditional Maya, this glyph was carved as a skull because it represented death. And so when we drop into this, what are they saying in these mathematical codes of the Maya is that if we want to be able to cooperate together, if we want to be able to work together to achieve our greater visions, then we have to be willing to let any idea that I am right and you are wrong, any idea that I know for sure what things are and how things should be, and that egoic kind of thing, we have to be willing to let that die. We have to be willing to let our old stories die, our old rituals, and in some ways this is challenging, because there's a romance to the old and there's a lot of wisdom to the old. So it's not that we should just get rid of all of our history, right? There's a lot of beauty in our religions. There's a lot of beauty in our belief structures, and even in politics, there's been beauty. And I know that's a big statement, but it's that thing of, I often think of the world bridger as being, when you jump on a plane. I know it's been a long time for many of us, but when you jump on a plane and you have to check your bags, right? And you've got like a 20-kilogram baggage, especially on the cheaper airlines, like they're super strict. Now, when you rock up, I know about you, Lee, but I've rocked up before and I've had like 24 kilos. And they've just said to me, look, you got to take 4 kilos out. And so then you have to do that kind of, shuffle of shame where you go over and you have to open your suitcase and sort through everything and go, oh my God, how am I going to find 4 kilos I have to like throw in the bin or give away, or, it just can't come with me on this next trip. And so you have to go through this process of contemplating what's resonant with the trip that I'm going on now, with the vision quest that I'm going on now, and what is no longer resonant with me and where I'm going. And we have to let that go. And to me, that's what the world bridger, that's what death really represents, that we have an egoic death all the time, that we are constantly dying. Our cells are dying and being reborn. Our belief structures are dying and being reborn. Everything about us, if we allow it, but we keep on bringing back the old. And so to me, that's what today is really kind of bringing forward, for this blue eagle, is that part of for me, part of the heaviness of this last couple of weeks going through this wave spell has been that pulling away and actually seeing the reality of what's around me, of the choices that I've made, the consequences of the choices, and the situation that I've put myself in, rather than blaming everyone else. And recognizing that, okay, that's a little bit sad, some of these things, and there's that part where I have to go through and just embracing that. But the beauty is, now I can see it. Now I can do something about it. And this is where today, this world bridger energy is, well, maybe if I let go of anything that I feel like I have to do for the outside world and just reconnect to, what am I going to pack in my bags for the rest of this next wave spell? What am I going to pack in my bags for the months ahead and for this journey that we're going on together? And this is for BitCloud as well. Everyone out there on BitCloud that's here, this is an opportunity to let go of any behaviors from Facebook or Telegram or not Telegram, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. They've all got their kind of ways of being. And I see sometimes them sneak onto the platform, and people just naturally go into these old ways of interacting. But we've got an opportunity right now to reconnect to something bigger than that and to let go of those behaviors and recreate something new, something fresh. And, and that's what's been inspiring me in this wave spell, even through, and it's like you were saying, Lee, it's like suffering is a choice, Now, having hard situations, which are painful, may not be a choice, but whether they become suffering or not is really down to the mind's perception, right? And how we view it, how we perceive it. Just as, if we're doing something for a greater good, there's almost like a joy in it, even if it hurts. Whereas if we're doing something and we've got no goal whatsoever and it feels like we're just doing it for the hell of doing it and it hurts, then that's suffering. Big times.
Let go is one of the hardest things to do, I think, for most of the people, most of us. And today, that is the energy. The white world bridger, you talked about death and letting go and our idea of death. And in the same way, I remember Vasumi saying, when we talk about the human body and death, the distortion we're seeing in the world is that we try to keep the body alive, but the spirit is no longer there. But it's really our fear. It's our challenge, the difficulty to let go of that loved one. Just let them hang on, even if there's only a machine keeping them here. But meanwhile, their spirit is already starting to journey somewhere else, And these are really deep contemplations, because it's not easy to make that decision when we are actually at the foot of that bridge. Can we really let go of a loved one? Can we really let them just die? Or will we do the best that we can to keep them here? But what is the purpose? So if they're going to be vegetable, I mean, this is life, and these are beautiful contemplations. Again, it points us to, we all have our own journeys. We all are facing our own shadows and dancing with our shadows. And the challenge to let go, or beyond just seeing it as a challenge, is to discover the strength that we have when we overcome something that has been a challenge for so long. Can we actually cross the bridge from being, I wouldn't say being our old self, because that, I would say, evolved self. When I think about evolved self, it means that I honor everything from my past, and I wouldn't be evolving into here now without that. So we bring everything of our past with us and carry that into the future that has enabled us to become this most updated version of ourselves. So it's a journey.
It really is. It's interesting that death really is coming in strong today. And so for everyone watching, Lee and I don't do any preparation for this. This is just free flow in the stream of consciousness, whatever comes through with the themes, and to put ourselves vulnerable in this space, and to create a space where we can all contemplate together. And And this 100%, like, death has been strong. Like, it's as I mentioned to you in some messages, Lee, last week I was in a pretty heavy space. It was my 40th birthday, and it was something that I'd been looking forward to. And what was really interesting was, as I was coming into this, it was almost like a second stage of my life. The rocket boosters are falling away. Now it's time to launch this next phase. But instead, what I was really left with for that week was a lot of contemplation around, the things that have died in my life, and I hadn't given space and time to let go of properly, that I hadn't actually allowed to have the space. And in a way, it's like, grief. Grief is that mechanism, right? Grief is this mechanism that allows us to kind of digest and let go. And if we don't allow that space for grief, then how are we supposed to actually let go? And it was a really powerful process, and I had a lot of grief that was coming up. But what's been really powerful with that is being present with that grief, not trying to run from it, not trying to fight it or push it away, but rather staying in it and almost feeling the romance of the grief. It's that same thing we get in movies and things. As long as it's not us, we can enjoy the romance of those things. But can we do it for ourselves, in our own fairy tale? And I've been watching how, when I've just allowed that to be okay, and like those ebb and flows of grief moving through my body, it was washing away the old ways, the old thoughts. It was clearing space inside me for new visions, new possibilities, new openings. And it was removing so much weight and baggage that I didn't even know I was carrying, right? And so that's really the invitation today. What is it in your life that, maybe you've been carrying? If you're anything like me on trips, I'd carry so much stuff I'd never need. I'd go on trips and I'd pack my bag always to the limit and a little bit more, just in case. Oh, I might need this, I might need that. And then, have you ever, when you're moving house and you see all this stuff, you're like, I still have that. Oh, but you never know when I'll need it. It's heavy. It makes moving take 5 times as long. It makes traveling 3 times heavier. And so,
Love it.
we've all got stuff to let go of right now, because I think we're having to let go of the way politics has always been done. This dualistic kind of thing that used to be, well, if I'm left, I'm left. If I'm right, I'm right. And that's safe, right? I've got my tribe that will protect me. If I'm right wing, at least I have a right wing tribe. If I'm left wing, I have a left wing tribe. But that's all being broken apart now. There's so many splinters within those cells that now we don't have that safety anymore. We don't have mum and dad government anymore that we can trust like we kind of used to. And so many things are changing. Economics are changing. We're streaming this into BitClout, which is a platform that of itself is changing the very way that we connect, the way that we do economics, the way we do everything is changing. And that can be terrifying. So we keep on trying to hold on to the old ways and bring them in, because at least if I have that, at least I'll feel like a comfy, at least I'll feel safe. But it's not working. And so it's going to be a little bit scary, I think. It's going to be times where it's daunting and overwhelming. And that's where, for me, it really is that surrender, this surrender, which isn't giving up, right? But it's about going with the flow and just finding your uniqueness within the flow. How do you uniquely, what is your gift? What is your love, your passion that you want to offer into the circle as we keep going and keep weaving and keep storytelling, what comes next? Because that's up to us.
When we talk about letting go of the old, I think letting go of the old that doesn't work. That's what we are letting go of. In a general way, there's so many things about the old that we need to carry forward, just like how Fibonacci sequence works. I talk about things that matter that we can carry into the future and let go of all the garbage, things we don't need. This is what we may put a label as a patriarchal way of thinking and being. You know, when something is oppressive, when something is divisive, when something is coming from this way of control and manipulation, those are the things that we are letting go of. We've been so programmed, locked up into the state that that's all we know to survive. And that is the scary part, because how can we trust? That's really the thing. I think it's hard for us to trust another human being that they have our best interest at mind. We have to build from something that as simple as trust. How can we build trust in societies? You know, we talk about freedom, and I also, you know, one thing that's also pulsing to me right now is Jack Kornfield said, walk the spiritual path with practical feet. What does that mean? How can we apply spiritual knowledge, all of these concepts, and really embody them? And how can we apply them in life moving forward? You know, trust in society, trust in each other. How can we build trust again? And we think about that in a way that I'm seeing the news of freedom being taken away by government mandating things. And I know this is another sensitive subject, but walk with me. When people don't take responsibility of their own safety and are not responsible, say, for example, I am infected, but I don't care. I don't want to wear anything to protect you from me. I feel like my own personal freedom is being taken away. I don't want that. Where do we sit with the greater whole? How is that action contributing to the greater whole? This is the contemplation. So when enough people say this, I don't care about your freedom, my freedom is being taken away, I'm going to fight for my freedom, I don't want to wear anything that's going to prohibit me from living freely. When enough people do that, an entity like a government comes in to mandate for public health safety, because we are proving that we are not responsible. We're not responsible enough to take care of our own tribe. Somebody else has to come in and be the authority. But if we are taking care of each other and just being respectful and say, okay, let's do our best. How can we all cooperate, communicate? This is, I feel like I'm restricted for this, but maybe there's something that I can do so I don't feel restricted, but I'm also not harming you. I want to invite that kind of conversation, because, and the other one is also just shut off. I don't want to entertain anything else. I'm talking about my freedom. You're taking away my freedom. And again, this is the dichotomy. My freedom is your freedom. We're not free until everybody's free. And so all these mandates are starting to come in, governments, military, starting to impose things yet again, because there is no order. So how can we create order? It really brings us back into how can we take responsibility? Are we responsible? Not just for our own lives, but for the lives of other people. You know, can we actually take in consideration others around us? And so this is where the wisdom of the indigenous peoples comes in. They think about how the 7th generation after me is going to benefit from what I'm doing now, or how it's going to affect them. We live in a society where we are so disconnected and separated that everything is in this individualistic mind. But when we look at cultures that are the indigenous cultures, it's not an individualistic mind. Their mind is harmonized with everybody else's mind, and everybody's moving on their own, but together in harmony for the greater whole. Not just for themselves as human beings, but also in harmony with nature. So perhaps this is something that we can, you know, how can we bring that wisdom incorporate that in our modern city lives? How can we live free and not just in our own way, our own life, but also that our way is giving freedom to others. That's a lot there. And thank you for just streaming that through. I feel really passionate about this right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, Lee, I you know, and honestly, the old, because I come from a fairly anarchist background, right? And, you know, which is about radical self-responsibility, which is about why are we having all these. Now, that being said, I've since matured and grown and acknowledged the need for a collective governing mechanism, right? That allows us to be able to cooperate when we can't trust each other. Then the governments, the more we don't trust each other, like you're saying, the bigger the government gets, right? And, you know, so there's a part there that kind of almost gets a little bit like, hang on a second, let's make sure this is balanced, right? Because it's 100%, you know, with the mask, because this is a very heated topic. And this is, for me, where the Blue Eagle is really representing this need to be able to rise beyond, to understand, why are people not wearing those things? Why are they not doing that? Because there is an element of just people that are straight up selfish. Absolutely. But there's also another stream of people that are looking at from the other angle, saying, when you wear those masks, when you do those mandates, when you allow the government to tell you what to do and control everything, because in Sydney here in Australia, they literally have abilities they were never able to do before, right? And when you give a government power, you can't get it back again, right? It doesn't happen, right? You can look at history. So there's this other side that's saying, well, hang on, no, like, thinking 10 years ahead for my children, if we allow them to start dictating and controlling here when we don't even trust them in the first place, that's going to look like an Orwellian 1984 kind of scary scene. So you've got these either sides. And I feel like the Blue Eagle is that invitation to, if we're going to make progress, if we want to be able to actually move through this, then the only way that I see us stopping those cults, those silos of you know, where people just reinforce each other's stories, is when we're able to rise up and listen to each other, to actually listen to why we each feel that way, and acknowledge it, and even contemplate all sides, right? So if you're anti-vax, you're like, you know, and by the way, just even that itself, vax, anti-vax, to me,
I know
that's the worst thing that's ever done. You know, because it's not about anti-vax. It's really, it comes down to trust. Trust is the biggest issue that I see on our planet, like we've been speaking to today. And I don't trust my government. I don't trust politicians. Interestingly, people trust their government, but they don't trust politicians. Yet the government is politicians, right? So there's all these little mind loops and trips and things, and we're all kind of having these base level fear-driven, triggered, because they're using fear to control. It's the simplest way to do it. It's not necessarily a nefarious thing, but if you need to control large groups of people, fear is the easiest way to do it. And that doesn't mean that's a bad thing, because sometimes maybe that just has to happen. And so it's this crazy time we're living in, where as long as we're standing on either side of a line saying you're wrong, I'm right, we're like you say, we're just going to get more mandates, more government, more control. But the moment we can actually create a little bit of a distance from the fight and meet together as friends and say, hey, okay, so talk to me, like, how is you see this situation? Like, what is it that scares you about the way I do things? You know, and then hopefully you'll listen to why it makes me scared, right? And then from there, we can open our hearts and actually be together. And then say, hey, you know what? Okay, cool. I can understand your fear. I'm going to wear my mask for you. I'm going to wear my mask for those. Now that I understand where you're coming from, I will wear it for those that feel that way. But I'm not going to wear it for the government. It's a different thing, right?
Yeah.
And then others might. And so that's where. So I love that you brought that in, because it's something that I feel is almost like a kind of zit in the collective consciousness that needs to be popped, right? And just like, hey, let's get this out in the open. Can we listen to each other? Can we just be with each other? Because there's no easy fix to this. You know, no one knows really the truth, you know.
Can we
But yeah.
listen to one another? Wow, that's big.
Mm.
Listening is big. Listening without having the need to answer anything back. I'm listening to you so I can have something to say back to you. And it just never ends.
Right? Not gearing up, a response, but rather just fully
Yeah.
hearing each other. And
Not
then not
having
needing
any
to agree.
exactly, not having any agenda except to listen.
Yeah.
To listen, to listen, to listen, to lean in. Juicy topic. It's been,
It is.
I love that. And if you know me, on a personal level, I like to go into these places and
Absolutely.
dive into it. There's no better time than now. And I am grateful for you, being here with me, and we can express ourselves in this way. And feeling grateful for people who feel drawn or magnetized to listen to our conversations. So thank you for another satsang for the soul.
Likewise, Lee. It feels like we're just warming up and getting comfortable.
I know.
And we're gonna get nice and juicy. And it's so nice to be able to go to those kinds of topics that so many others run from, and to be able to go in there and to hold it together, in that space. So here's to the sessions to come. Beautiful.
Yeah. It's so good to see from all the perspectives, because we get to also explore what's in our minds, in our space, and these are topics that are important. I don't want to sit here and talk about love and light without having to talk about what is necessary to really see in the world, because both, like I said, both are valid. And at the same time, the way that things are being done, I am also not for it. Because it's very patriarchal to impose, to control, and to do things the way we've been doing things before. So there must be another way. How can we educate people? How can we all be receptive to knowledge? At the end of the day, we're all just reading someone's report on something. Unless you're a scientist, then you can find out an experiment of your own and look into the data and make your own conclusion. Otherwise, we're all just reading from somewhere and making our judgment and decisions based on somebody else's writing. So there's a lot to digest, and it's so intense. And I hope that everybody is just keeping their head above water. This is a good time to learn how to swim. And at the end of the day, like what we were talking about, no matter how heavy the topic is, we just kind of have to laugh about it. Here we are thinking life is so serious, and it is. But at the end of the day, like I said, what happens when we die? Do we wake up from death and laugh and see that life is such a joke? Oh my God, I've spent my whole life doing this. And do we just laugh at ourselves at the end of the day? So, to more joy, in 2 days, we are going to welcome the Yellow Star Waves Ball, creating harmony, beauty, harmony in the pattern, creating order. Order is good. You go look at your house and look at your living space, see if there's order. And if there's a lot of mess, that's our head right there. We have to change the way the physical here in this physical realm too, to match what is inside, right? So we are all doing our best to be our own housekeeper, making sure everything's tidy and organized in our mind, in our lives. And if 7 billion of us starts doing that, then Wow. I don't need anybody else to organize my house or my mind. I am doing it for myself. I am a sovereign being. And so did 7 billion people. That's all that they said too. Here's a song I wrote many moons ago. It's called We Are Remembering. Remembering or remembering. Becoming a member again, or a member of the human race. I was having a conversation the other day with someone about this closure or presence of other beings from different universes on the planet. And I said, wouldn't that be the most amazing thing that could happen right now to add to this dish of many extremes happening? I mean, if there's an alien species showing up right now, maybe that's one thing that can bond all of humanity together. Finally realize, hey, wait a minute. We're all inhabitants of this planet Earth, and we're all just one, and look at all these beings coming from another planet. We are remembering. We are remembering. We are remembering. We are remembering. Oh, when we tune into the voice that speaks love from within, we are healing old wounds of our fathers as we open again. The time has come to wake up, time to wake up from our slumber. The time has come to wake up, time to wake up, dear brother. We know the time is now and we know just what to do. We join our hearts together and together we'll pull through. Oh, we are remembering. We are remembering. We are remembering. Oh, when we tune into the voice that speaks love from within, we are healing old wounds of our fathers as we open again. The time has come to rise up and to rise up from our fall. We are here for you, oh sister, we're together through it all. We have come to raise our hearts and see each other as our own. We honor our mother and the earth, our sacred home. Oh, we are remembering. We are remembering. We are remembering. Oh, when we tune into the voice that speaks love from within, we are healing old wounds of our fathers as we open again. Open again. As we open our hearts again. I want to hear from my heart again. Woo. Love you, Mark. Remembering we are.
You are incredible. Thank you so much, Lee. You've just brought us into the world again with that light heart after such a beautiful, deep discussion. Thank you so much. I want to do a big shout out to Dwayne. So on BitClout at Dwayne, Dawayne Perza, Perza. I'll be tagging you in our share. Dwayne, thank you for joining in. Lee, thank you so much. This was magic. What a finish. And I'm just looking forward to these just continuing to ripen and just to see what we create together. So
well, thank you so much, Mark. Mwah. So much love. Love to everyone. See you next week. Blessings.
Same time,
in Lakesh.
same place. In Lakesh.
Same time, same place.